Last autumn, I had the joy of spending a month in Norway, and I made a travel film there, which I'm really proud of. And I want to share with you an exploration of how my brain works through every phase of making a film like that, from planning and actually traveling, to shooting, editing, and releasing it on YouTube. It's going to be partly informative. We'll have some details of how you can plan a similar trip, some stories that didn't make the video, and we'll have some insights into the little creative decisions that went into the video and how I edited it. But I'm also giving you a deep dive into the psychology of somebody who produces videos like that for YouTube and how he overthinks details every step of the way. That somebody is me. Because it started with an idea for a video, an idea loaded with expectations. It's going to be beautiful, it's going to be unique, it's going to be interesting, it's going to look like this, it's going to look like that. I'm going to edit it all as soon as I get back, and I'm going to post it at Christmas and everybody's going to love it. Easy, right? And then throughout the course of a few months of my life happening, we did end up with a final product. Am I satisfied with the final video? Does it live up to what I once imagined it would be? Am I pleased with how it was received? And even if I do see flaws in the video, can I ever realistically wish that I had done a better job? Because we don't make things in a vacuum, right? We make things with the world happening around us, and that inevitably shapes what we make and how easy and enjoyable we find that process. Now, to answer all of these things honestly, I am going to say some negative things in this video, but ultimately I do know that I was super privileged to be able to afford to do this, just to go and do this in general, to have this experience and these memories in this video to look back on. I don't take any of that for granted. So I'm sorry if my analysis and my complaints veer towards melodrama at times. Yeah, I'm just going to say that once at the start and then get into a long video where I can feel free to tell both sides. I have wanted to visit northern Norway for a long time, but that's not a totally unique thing. So how did I decide to throw caution and my bank account to the wind and go for it? The story of me going for it starts in England, and it starts with a video that never was and probably never will be.
I think we've made it. We did it. And look.
I was visiting the UK last summer and I spent a really nice week in the Lake District. It was somewhere I'd never been before, the most famously beautiful place in my own home country, having seen so many other countries, and it did not disappoint. I had this idea that I wanted to shoot a lakes video as a kind of warm-up for a big travel video in the autumn, because things were kind of opening up again. Restrictions were getting easier, cases weren't so bad in many places, borders were opening, I was able to get the vaccine finally, and because of being sat in lockdown doing not much, I had a lot of work holidays saved up and I had a bit of money saved up as well. After all the lockdowns, I felt so strongly that I wanted to do a big and unique trip, partly to shake off the cobwebs and just enjoy myself, and partly to give you something to watch. I felt that everybody who subscribed after my USA video, they kind of had nowhere to go after that, and I wanted to offer up a second full-length story. I remember being sat with my mum on the Isle of Wight. It was a few days before leaving for the lakes, and then after that back to Germany, and we were going down a list of ideas that I had for trips I could do in Europe. By the way, how long into this video until I mentioned the Isle of Wight? I'll put the time on screen, and whoever guessed closest to that, you win. Yeah, we were talking about different ideas that I had for long travel videos. When I came back from Asia in 2018, I spent a lot of time being a map nerd and coming up with all these different routes that if one day I had the time and if I could afford it, that I would like to do. And one of them was to go to Tromsø. Something about being that far north, that far from home, but still somehow connected to mainland Europe. I found it so easy to romanticize, and I wondered what life would be like up there. I had also heard of the fjords growing up as this kind of otherworldly, beautiful, like bucket list kind of place. Also, Norway in particular was about to remove all of its restrictions, and the chance to maybe see the Northern Lights sounded like okay too. The lakes video, by the way, I don't like, and I don't really want to edit. Being in this game involves a lot of watching back footage of yourself and footage of your life, and in most cases that's okay obviously, but sometimes it feels quite unhealthy and you just think, oh, it's best to leave it for a while. It's a shame though, because I did have a good time there. And I even bought this book because I thought that video was going to come out before the Norway one, and this was going to be like a teaser for the Norway video. Because, you know, I think that I'm like your local art house film director boy. Originally, I wanted to get up there like this, by actually taking the train from Stockholm up to Narvik. Norway's lakes and mountains and its geography in general make things quite challenging, and northern Norway is not actually connected by rail to the rest of the country, so the only way to get up there by rail is actually through Sweden. Seeing that this link existed and having watched other people's videos of doing it was actually one of the reasons I wanted to go up there in the first place. But once COVID started, they actually cancelled all international train services going up there. I guess at first this makes sense, but like 18 months later, when I was up there, they still hadn't reinstated that service. I don't know who that's helping at that point, but you know, we won't get into that. So the train wasn't an option, but the journey to go up and see the Northern Lights had sunk quite deeply into my brain at this point. So I found another way to do it. And this is the route that I actually took. By the way, I started in Hamburg, and obviously, you know, it's Europe. You can use bus and train connections to any other city that you want. Say if you're starting in London or Vienna, or from any airport that you land in on your trip to Europe. From Hamburg, I went to Aalborg with Flixbus, and from there on to Friedrichshafen, just on the local trains. I bought a ticket for that just from the machine. Then overnight to Oslo with the FDS, Oslo to Bergen with VY, the national rail company in Norway. Definitely book this way in advance if you can, because I think this route sells out quite fast. And then from Bergen to Svolvaer with the big and impressive and prohibitively expensive ship from Hurtigruten. Rooms on here definitely sell out very quickly. In fact, I would say if you have dates in mind and you can see rooms available on this boat for the trip that you want to do on those dates, just buy them, just buy the tickets. You know, everything else that you have to fit around it, flights, hotels, rental cars, whatever, you can deal with that later. That would be much easier. Just secure these tickets. From Svolvaer, you can actually continue on to Tromsø on the Hurtigruten ship as well, but I spared my wallet in this case and I just used the normal local public transport. I got the bus from Svolvaer to Harstad. You can get a ticket for that on the app Billet Nordland, and then from there the boat to Tromsø, which was just such a beautiful journey. You can get the ticket for that on the app Tromsbillet. That's also where you can buy tickets to get the bus around Tromsø if you want to. And when I had my x-ray, I got a taxi to the hospital with Tromsø Taxi. Good guys, good service. I did just look online just before filming this, and it looks like the train from Stockholm up to Narvik was actually reinstated like just after I left Norway. So maybe that's back on the list of things to look into if you want to do this trip. Just the journey through Swedish Lapland looks so good by itself. And it's obviously like a quarter of the price of the boat. Really was nice. I mean, to be fair, I quite like this shot. I'm not sure if this is the day that I was super hungover, but it works quite well. You know, when you get a DVD and it comes with that second disc that's full of all this like bonus content that's sort of kind of questionable production value. Well, I made something like this for the Norway video, and I wanted to put the entire thing here as kind of extra stories for the traveling section of this video, but it ended up being I talked for over 2 hours, so I won't put the whole thing here, but I have got a few minutes of it for you with some of my commentary on the video and with some extra yarns that didn't make it into the video. Yeah, it started with a joke that I don't know if it really worked, but let's see. This is some, you know, bonus footage coming up. This is what I deleted. See, we've got easy path, medium path, demanding path, and very demanding path. You know, it's kind of like being in Nando's. I'm feeling adventurous today, so I'll go for the medium path. I just don't think Americans know what Nando's is. I thought this was funny at the time, but I don't think Americans know what Nando's is, and I had to make some time in the Svolvaer part of the video, so I cut this out. Basically, it's a chicken restaurant where you can choose how spicy you want your food to be, and one of the options is medium, which is obviously not adventurous. That was the joke. But yeah, I think some of this is not that good, but I kept it in anyway. Lol. Could just do that as the whole commentary. Some of this is not that good, but I kept it in anyway. The rest, or this day, the next day, I was so stinkingly hungover. Like, I'm not proud to admit it. It's a stupid thing that I did, but I was like, come on, one drink. It absolutely killed me. If you've never spent your birthday alone in like some weird forest by a lake in Norway, I recommend it. That was my birthday, and really 10 out of 10 birthday. I'm very lucky to have had that. Should have pulled my hat down in this shot, but yeah. The farts joke, I mean, I think the execution is actually not too bad. You could make the same joke all over Germany, like the languages are obviously very similar. So this, probably another one of my favorite segments. And I saw this glimpse of this guy, saw him working hard, and then I'm gone. My journey goes on, and he's probably out in that garden right now doing the same thing, or not raking leaves in winter, but I don't know, maybe he's defrosting his windshield or something. But I think about things like this quite a lot. There was a couple of awkward things that happened. So they have this set design behind them, you can sort of see that thing pointing out there. I don't know what it is, but at one point, one of the singers actually went behind, and there's obviously like stairs or something, and she came out and stood at the top and started singing. And I felt so bad because I think it was supposed to be a big dramatic moment, but I think I started to like laugh a little bit before I silenced myself, because I was like, well, this is literally David Gilmour in The Wall.
Show me where it hurts. There is no pain you are receiving.
Like, why are you doing that? The whole 2 hours of that does still exist, and if you want to watch the whole thing, obviously after this video, then there's a link in the description. I heard Hank Green say something recently, and he was talking about books, but I think it applies to videos or anything else that you might want to make. I guess he's writing his 3rd book right now, and he said something like, but I don't know how to write a book.
Hank, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, I think an author.
That's Hank Green, by the way. In fact, both of these guys are famous authors.
I would love
I
that.
can't guarantee that, though, because I don't know if I can write a book. I know I can write 2 specific books.
Yeah.
I know I can write the books I've already written.
I always thought that once you write a book, you know how to do it.
You don't.
You don't. I think anybody who tries to make any type of thing can probably relate to this at some point. I couldn't face this footage at all when I first came back, and looking back at it now, I do see that the difficulty I had in starting to sculpt the video definitely shows that I had like kind of lost touch with the vision that I once had for it. But it is so true as well, like, man, I don't know how to edit videos. Okay, I know how to edit those specific videos, but in the face of this new timeline and all of this new footage, I am like creatively and technically completely toothless. That's definitely how I first felt looking at the timeline, and it was over 10 hours long to begin with, and it takes a lot to turn that into a video and into a story that you're proud of. And yeah, of course, I did know that there was some shots in there that I liked, but ultimately, I would say I was not feeling great. I was disappointed about coming home slightly earlier than I planned, and I knew with the whole wrist thing, it wasn't going to be exactly the video that I had planned. And also the actual physical problem of my swollen wrist that I wanted to let heal and I wanted it to rest, and after working all day, I didn't want to also stay on my laptop all night editing as well. I had set aside December in my mind as this time when my wrist would be healed and everything would be more relaxed and I could kind of edit to my heart's content. But it's never that easy though, is it? And come December, yeah, I would say last December in general, I was pretty miserable, and like there were a few things in my personal life that I haven't spoken about on the channel, and yeah, focused creative time was not coming as easy to me as I hoped it would. So I also thought that once you've made some videos, you know how to do it, but
You don't.
in the end, I don't think I did like any of the heavy lifting in terms of the editing work until I was off work for Christmas, for the break before Christmas, and yeah, in that week leading up to Christmas, I had so many nights that I just put in long nights of editing until like 3 or 4 a.m. I'm definitely somebody who can't focus on this kind of thing at all during the daytime because I just find, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. There's so much going on and there's so much else to think about. But you give me a quiet house where everybody else has gone to sleep and a dining room table and a Diet Coke, and I'll just, well, I'll definitely still find ways to distract myself and I won't be that focused. But in this case, I got it done and I'm pleased. I'm pleased I got it done to go out on the 27th. I think for my next project, I would like everything to be a bit more clear and structured and easy. It definitely won't be. Like a gap in shooting and a change in the time. I will bring the audio in first. Not interesting audio, but it's just much nicer than doing this. Yeah, that's so much worse. If you've ever wondered about the kinds of minute technical decisions that go into making a video like this, then you're in luck. The second half of the 2-hour commentary that I mentioned earlier is purely just me scouring the timeline and being a complete nerd about audio editing. And of course, I have another few minutes of examples for you here. I don't really say anything here that's worthwhile, but it is a talking section that I have where I can use to ditch this song.
City is just like it hardly seems like a city. It's just so.
So eventually I've just got rid of that song because you're now focusing on me talking, and then I can come out of it into a different song.
Moments where it's not raining.
So I can ditch one song and start another song, and that is really the easiest way to do that is to have a talking section, so you don't go from song to song, you go from song to talking to song, and that kind of smooths it over. Yeah, so this is a good example of something I always do. So this is the shot where I have the narration. Real life is not a video. This is the shot where I have the voiceover. It's just a nothing shot. I literally just turn the camera on.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right, and then over the top of that, I put the shots that I actually want to use. So it looks like while I'm doing this stuff, the narration is on. I think tracks like that and this one, if this is executed perfectly, then you won't notice that there's music. It will give you the effect of how you understand the video in a different way because of the music, how you feel differently about the shot in a different way because of the music. All of that will be happening in your brain without you thinking of the music. Yeah, I think if that's done perfectly, you wouldn't remember that there was music on that shot, but it would have had an effect on you. Okay, so this is, again, we have another instance of free sound effect, wind sound. See, that is nice. If I had what I actually captured through the camera mic. No bueno, but if I have the wind sound effect, bueno. I would never say that I'm a super advanced editor, but if you are just starting out and you want to learn some of the tricks that made the Norway video what it is, then again, you can watch the whole thing with the link in the description. It's definitely a strange moment when you set the video to public. The video that took so much out of you and that you put your soul into. The video that was literally your actual entire life for a month, like living it. And then a big part of your life for 2 months more, like talking about it, stressing over it, editing it, avoiding editing it usually, hyping it up on Instagram. Suddenly it's out there, it's done. You can't make any more changes to it. You just hope that somebody's gonna watch it. I never leave comments on YouTube, but I hope you know how special your videos are. Thank you, that's really sweet. When I watched your video, it felt like I was there too. I love that, that's one of the nicest things that you could say. Thank you for making these travel videos, and especially Norway, somewhere I hope to visit someday. Right now, with my health not in a good place and where I am in life, I can't afford to travel, and your videos help my inner wanderer escape a little bit. That's also a really nice part of what I get to do. That is cool to have that, to be that for people. I love your editing style and how peaceful it is to see Norway from your perspective. I've been wanting to do a trip like this to Norway, and I got the chills and I teared up because I feel like I'm right there. Oh. People are so nice. So yeah, people did watch it, and how I've ended up in that position, I don't know, but thank you. I've spoken on here before about how I feel that it's really, really lucky for somebody with a personality like mine to make videos that find an audience in the way that the Norway video did. I know a lot of people do struggle to watch the big YouTubers with the big kind of fake energy on this platform, but to have found a community of people who can relate to a video like this and enjoy the feeling that it gives and enjoy like spending time in this world with me, I think that's really special. You know, it was a really slow and restful and contemplative film, and it's impossible for it not to be. It was literally just what I wanted to do, how I was acting while I did it, and yeah, the kind of the mindset that I was in while I was shooting, and especially while I was editing it, created this video, this final product. That was a long time for an awkward English boy to be sincere, so let's go back to making jokes. You know, let's not kid ourselves. Obviously it is also a massive dopamine dispenser. It's so good for the ego, it's addictive. You know, whenever you're having one of those moments where you really doubt yourself, this person seems to think I'm the shit. Guess I'm the shit. Probably the point with that kind of thing is to try and like channel any kind of psychological response to it in the most constructive way, like not gambling your entire happiness on that ever happening again, but just taking that good energy and using it to focus on making the next video, making another video, making a better video. But then that's the thing with new media. I'm trying to say thank you for the heartfelt messages on my video, and I end up just talking about the next video. Like, yes, this one is out there, it's done, it's over, but that just means YouTube's hungry for more. They want you to give them more content. I mean, they don't let you forget how long it's been since you last uploaded. It's almost literally a ticking clock. And that's the world that we live in, and that's the machine that I've chosen to be a part of. You know, ultimately the beast will always be hungry and it will always need feeding. They also show you how your last 10 videos compare with each other. And in this case, my mental health has escaped that check unscathed. It's a 1 out of 10, which means that so far in its lifetime on YouTube, the Norway video is my best performing out of the last 10 videos that I've uploaded. It's number 1 out of 10, which if you're not a YouTuber probably means very little to you, but yeah, you ask anybody who uploads videos on here, their happiest moment is honestly like the holy grail if you get a 1 out of 10. So yeah, honestly, thank you so much. But I also do, you know, I want it to go both ways. I've been kind of honest in this video about some things that I didn't like doing, and I hope that you're honest with me if I make a video that you don't like, because, you know, otherwise I'll probably never improve. So did I achieve my aim? Did I make something unique and interesting and offer you a second full-length video to watch? I think there's some elements of the way that I tell the story in the video that I wouldn't have been able to execute, like even a few years ago. Obviously I see flaws in the video. Obviously there's things that I don't like about it, but you know, most of them just give me ideas for how to do better in the future. So even the flaws in the video, I think, are helping me grow even more. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. In fact, even this post-Norway video took me so long to make. I mean, you know, how deep can we take this? Like the making of the Norway video. It was a lot of work, but I'm glad to have something constructive in my life that is a lot of work. And even, again, to talk about this video instead, even the process of kind of evaluating it throughout making this video has taught me quite a lot about being kinder to myself and the things that I make, and evaluating the things that other people make in kind of a broader context. And having laid it all out like this, I mean, it's not that serious, it's a YouTube video, but you know, you did click on the making of the Norway video, so I guess you want to know what I think. And yeah, I am proud. I'm proud. Not that it's like perfect, but there obviously is a limit, and I feel quite glad and quite satisfied that I pushed that limit as far as I ever possibly could. I am actually already quite deep into shooting my next major video project. It's going to cover 2 months of my life here in Leipzig. I want to make something to show the rest of winter time here in Germany, so it's covering from January to March. And it's not a travel video, but more of an everyday life video. There's a video by currently Hannah called New Beginnings that is kind of a touchstone for what I want to do here. And her videos of like everyday life in Japan are just so stunning as well, and I love them. Kind of inspiring, although my life here in Germany could never compete with that. I think one thing with me finding it hard to make the Norway video was that I wasn't really watching a lot of travel vlogs or even vlogs at all at that time. I know it's hard to tell looking back, but some of the shooting feels a little bit like I did it purely on instinct, or like I was on some kind of autopilot. So it's really nice to actually feel properly inspired again. And obviously one other reason why I'm mentioning this project now is so that future Tom, editing Tom, actually makes it and actually posts it, and it doesn't go the way of the Lake District video. While that time is passing, I'd also like to bring you my full thoughts on the Northern Lights, like Northern Lights tourism and photography, and the experience I had, my own tips, and like how just incredibly lucky I was to see what I got to see. I also have a weekend travel video coming out from the Bavarian Alps that I've already shot. Another little look behind the curtain for you there. So that should come out soon. And then in April, I do have quite a lot of travel plans in mainland Europe. I don't really know when I'll edit that, but follow me on Instagram, at least for like some fun kind of day-by-day stuff from that. And then after that, if I dare in this world that we live in to try and make plans for the summer and theorize what's gonna happen then, will I make it to the Faroe Islands this year? I don't know. I'd really, really like to. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it this year, but if I do, you know that I'll be like so beyond excited to share a Faroe video with you. The key for me is kind of to differentiate it from the Norway video. So again, it will be a long boat trip. It will be like beautiful northern desolate landscapes. And I've kind of been putting some time into thinking, oh, how do I not just make the Norway video again? And You know, I think it comes across in this video both sides of making the Norway video. I'm so lucky that I have that to look back on, but I don't really want to go and make that again like straight away. So I don't know what will happen, but yeah, we'll see. Please let me know also if you enjoyed this deep dive. I've complained a lot about like a really perfect and like unforgettable experience that I've had, but I kind of feel like if you wanted to know a behind the scenes, then you wanted to know an honest behind the scenes. And that kind of includes all the stuff that we've talked about and all the like various anxieties of the filmmaker. And thank you so much for watching to the end. You know, this video was, I mean, all videos are like self-indulgent vanity projects, but this one in particular. But I hope you got something out of it, especially if you've never made something for YouTube before and you didn't have any kind of clarity on this process. If you are interested in more bonus footage, stuff that wasn't good enough for the original video, and also my commentary on what I like and don't like about the video, or if you actually are a beginner video editor and you want to learn a little bit from me, then there's 2 full hours of me nerding about all of this stuff at the link in the description. And with all of that said, thank you so much. It's so cool that I get to do this, and I'll see you in the next video. Because, you know, I think that I'm like your local art house film director boy. Because, you know, I think that I'm like your local art house film director boy, don't I? Because, you know, I think that I'm like your local art house film director boy. Giving myself a hell of a job there. I love that I said that before even cutting.